Jim Ziegler, the Alpha Dog, with my friend Max Zanan. What you doing? Playing with your cell phone, big boy?
All the time, Jim. It's so nice to see you. How you doing?
Oh, it's so nice to be seen, I'll tell you. What's going on?
I mean, listen, we are living in unprecedented times. I thought 2008, 2009 was the end of the world, and this is something completely different, but we are faced with the same problem. How do we overcome and how do we sell cars?
Well, I see a different problem. I've got 45, 46 years in the business now, and I got to tell you, it's crazy what's going on. Absolutely.
I agree with you. The business is changing rapidly, and a lot of times I see dealers being in denial, especially when it comes to, online retail. And I think coronavirus brought it to the surface. We're all online retail customers during this virus, right?
Well, listen,
I got everything. Everything.
Tell me about Max Zanan.
Oh, here you are. I lost you for a second. So what were you asking?
Tell me about Max Zanan and your company. Tell me about what you do, who you are, what it's all about.
So, Jim, you and I go back, I think, 10 years already. And, I'm 43 years old, believe it or not. So I started selling cars right out of college. And by 2008, when we had the Great Recession, I was running a large order group in New York. And like I said, the world came to an end and there was no more retail. So I transitioned into F&I product training, into compliance. And here we are, it's 2020. I have my own compliance company. I have my own income development company. I wrote 3 books. I'm working on the 4th one. And I truly love car business. And whatever I do, I just want to make sure that, dealers always come out on top, because everything I have in this life is because of car business. The people I've met, the friendships I've made, the money I've made, I owe it all to car business.
Well, that's pretty much where I'm at with things. Let's see. How are we doing? There you are. Okay, I'm looking at our broadcast on another screen to be sure we're doing what we need to do. So, I started in the business in 1976.
That's the year I was born.
Oh, I understand that. I came into the business. What year were you born?
76.
Yeah. So I came into business when you were pooping in your Pampers. So, it's absolutely amazing.
Puts everything in perspective, right?
It does. I've been in the business through so many of these cycles. I've seen so much come and go. I came into business. Jimmy Carter was in the White House. I mean, we were in a major recession, OPEC oil embargo. People could only buy gas every other day, depending on odd and even license plates. I mean, picture the economic times in the late 70s, before Ronald Reagan came in office and saved us. So I went through that. I went through the Gulf War in 1991. Once again, the Gulf War, we had a major recession. January 16th, 1991, the auto business crashed, because that's when people were glued to the TV watching a live war on CNN for the first time. You're watching bombs dropping and fireworks in the sky. But, there was a dealer named Chris Burrett, Burrett Chevrolet in New York. I think it's Oswego, New York, if I'm not mistaken, Lake Effect, January 16th, 1991. Never forget the day, because number one, it was my birthday. Number two, there was a major blizzard in upstate New York. And number three, poor old Chris Bird had drawn the short straw because he was paying me $10,000 a day to consult his dealership in a blizzard with a war starting on TV that nobody was coming out. I mean, all this, I couldn't keep the salesman in training class for running out to watch TV and watch the war. So 1991, major recession in the car business. I almost lost my business. I had 40 employees, had to lay everybody off. I mean, because dealers just stopped paying me. I had 40 people out there on the road living in hotel rooms with my American Express card in their pocket. And dealers weren't buying any training. They were laying off employees. It was pretty much the way it is right now. So, then 1991, and then the year 2000 took a real dip, and people had to regroup again. They went 0% for the first time. Employee pricing for everybody. They were trying to jumpstart the car business, and I got to say, General Motors did a good job of jumpstarting the car business with employee pricing and 0%. That was 2000. So then we rocked and rolled for about 8 years, and here comes 2008.
That's right.
2008, October 15th, 2008, Max. Debbie and I were in England. We were buying a franchise for Academy, which was the British version of Facebook at the time. We were buying the U.S. franchise. I wrote a major check to Thomas Power to buy the U.S. franchise. October 15th, 2008. That was the day the stock market crashed. I had just written this major check.
It's always like that.
I had ramped up my employees. I had like 20 employees again, right. Major 6,000 square feet of offices, in a Class A building. 2005, I think we did like $5 million. And then here I am laying off everybody, shutting down the offices because 2008, the car business crashed again. So how many crashes have we seen?
Right. This is not the first, and it sounds like it's not the last.
But the point I'm making is we survived and thrived. I mean, I made $1 million most years in the car business, but there were those years that we just totally crashed. And I mean, it looks so bleak. In 1991, I remember scrambling because I owed $100,000 to American Express. I owed more than that, $250,000. I don't know the number, big number to IRS, because I found out my bookkeeper was taking money out of people's paychecks and not submitting it to IRS. So here I am. I'm wondering, are they going to drag me in handcuffs to the basement of the federal building and beat me and handcuff me?
Yeah.
So I go down. Fortunately, that recession in the car business, IRS worked with me. American Express worked with me. I think American Express put me on a $5,000 a month payment. IRS put me on a payment plan. In 14 months, Debbie and I had worked our way out of it with perfect credit. We never lost our credit. The car business came back, that's the point I'm making. It always came back. The bleakest time in my life, man, laying off all these people, the IRS, the American Express, we owed them an incredible amount of money. I've got like $5,000 on the books. One old employee, Al Adderhold. Al Adderhold stayed with me. And he said, Jim, I said, I can't pay you, Al. He said, doesn't matter. And Al Adderhold and I started making phone calls. And 8 o'clock in the morning, we're calling dealers on the East Coast. And when that war was over, people were ready to get back to business. Yeah, we're talking about the Gulf War, the first one. Dealers were ready to get back to business. And that's the point you and I could be making in just a minute. Are you ready to get back to business?
Exactly.
So anyway, 8 o'clock in the morning, Al and I started making phone calls. He was in my computer, in my database. He was pulling out NADA dealer list, and we were calling people. Hey, Jim Ziegler, 8 o'clock at night, we were talking to dealers in Hawaii. We were calling across the time zones. That's what I got in the habit of making 100, 200 phone calls a day. And you know what? Within a couple of months, I was completely debt-free. I was ramping up the business, bigger offices, new employees, So that's the point we're making to the car dealers today. This will pass. It will transition. Is that fair?
100%. And again, not to be Debbie Downer, probably 10 years from now, there'll be another one.
Yeah.
It's the nature of the beast, right? Economy is cyclical. So you have to be ready. And you have to make a sound judgment every time there is a crisis instead of panicking. At some point, you have to develop immunity, right? And know exactly what to do.
You can't cut your expenses down into a profit.
Correct.
I see dealers that, I'm going to stop spending. No,
right.
I'm
going to fire a porter, right?
Yeah, I'm going to fire a porter. Quit it. How do we get out of this thing? Okay, they've opened it up, and now dealers you're not even ready. You, the dealers, you are not ready. Have you sanitized your cars? Do you have home delivery? Have you turned your dealership into a concierge dealership? I put up a commercial the other day, have it your way. You remember that?
Yes.
Hold the pickle, hold the lettuce. Special orders don't upset us. All we ask is that you let us serve it your way. Have it your way. Have it your way. Have it your way at Burger King. Have it your way at car dealerships. Yeah.
But you see, it requires intellectual flexibility. You have to be flexible and say, okay, I'm willing to sell the car the way my customer wants to buy it, as opposed to saying you can only buy it this way. You have to be flexible, and it's hard. A lot of dealers, unfortunately, are not that flexible.
Well, it's amazing. The country of Sweden did not isolate or hunker down or lock down for the coronavirus.
Correct.
They did not do anything. They stayed wide open, and they had the virus the same as all the other countries, and it's a sad, sad thing. They went with Darwin's law of selection, natural selection. I mean, hey, we got a virus. You're either going to make it or you're not. Well, guess what? Car dealers, you're going to make it or you're not.
That's right.
There's going to be casualties. So you can grow or you can die, but you cannot stay where you are.
Yes.
And what a perfect time to get rid of dead weight. You've already laid them off. Don't bring them back.
That's right. This is an amazing opportunity to completely re-engineer the business and get better people and set up better processes and really respond to consumers' needs, right? Because I think at this point, everybody is an online shopper and everybody is an online buyer. And if I have a choice of completing my deal online, that's the choice I'm going to make, whether I'm shopping for paper towels, whether I'm shopping for clothing or for a car. Perception is reality. And I live in New York, right? So our reality.
I'm sorry.
New
York, oh my God.
might be a little different. Why would I expose myself and go to a car dealership and spend 6 hours there, and interact with salespeople, finance managers, sales managers, porters, receptionists, other customers? It's not worth it, right? Because the fear of getting infected, whether real or not, is still there.
I'm a 73-year-old cancer patient. I'm not going out.
Right.
Excuse me. You're not going to see. And New York, I'm sorry, New York, you guys deserve what you get.
Yes.
You elected de Blasio not once but twice. Somebody voted for the sucker. Now you're living with it. I mean, Como is your fault.
Right. So elections have consequences.
Exactly.
And we're living those consequences.
I'm looking. There's a video right now. I think de Blasio is live on Facebook right now.
Yeah. Well, I think the way New York politics work is that we get 2 terms of a liberal that destroys the city, and then we get a Republican to fix it.
Crazy. I mean, I didn't want to talk for specific politics, but everybody knows I'm a conservative, but my God, New York, what are you people thinking?
I know.
Ocasio-Cortez ran Amazon out of the city. Well, you people nuts, and you probably reelect her. I hate Trump, so I'm voting for. I hate Trump, so I'm voting for idiots.
That's right.
The whole thing is, hey, we're going to raise your taxes during the coronavirus. You're going to the whole campaign. Someone wrote, raise your taxes, quit it. So anyway, you live in New York. Sorry, we got off on a side subject there. How are New York car dealers doing, big guy?
Well, I mean, listen, like you said, car dealers are resilient. And, New Yorkers are resilient. We went through 9/11. Now it's coronavirus. So in terms of a psyche of a New Yorker, I'm not worried about it. New York will pull through and will recover at some point. Car dealers are in a very unique situation now, right? Because New York car dealers always enjoyed population density. And let's call a spade a spade. You don't have to really try this hard, when there's 2.5 million people living in Brooklyn and there's only 2 Toyota points.
Yeah, I mean, a monkey with a note in his mouth could sell cars at a Toyota store in Brooklyn. Matter of fact, there are some monkeys selling cars in Brooklyn. I've met them.
Right. So now it's a little different. That population density it does not matter, right? Because again, these people are now willing to come out, and if you cannot satisfy them, online, I think it'll be very, very hard, right? That's point number 1. Point number 2, we have 30 million unemployed people in the country. I mean, this is our reality. And
no income. I mean, I am amazed that more people haven't rioted.
Correct.
I'm absolutely amazed. I'm looking at what's happening in Michigan with the idiot governor, Chicago with the idiot mayor. I mean, it's all politics. I mean, I know that the virus is dangerous. I am scared to death of the virus, but I'm more scared to death of economic collapse where people don't have food on their tables. They can't go to work. They can't do the things they need to do, and, I don't need them turn to crime or whatever they do. I mean, it's a shame. I mean,
listen, they're dangerous. Driving in cars is dangerous. Yeah,
I mean, I'm sorry. So
you make a personal choice, and I think people are smart, and they will do the right thing. Nobody is suicidal and is going to violate the social distancing rules or anything of that nature. But you have to allow people to leave their houses and go back to work, because mental health is at stake and the economy is at stake. And you cannot eliminate all the germs in the world. That's for
No,
sure.
okay. So car dealers, what? Let's get back to car dealers. What do we need to do? Now, I'm thinking. One of the things we need to do is the concierge sales, and I've been an advocate of concierge sales long before. Carvana is doing a very poor job of getting a lot of attention. I mean, they're getting a lot of attention, and they're really not fulfilling the need. They're not profitable. They're bleeding money out of every artery. You know, but car dealers can do it better. We can do it now. So we got to really concentrate on turning our dealership into a complete concierge. How do you want to buy the car? What do you have in mind? And when they get there, how do we treat them? I mean, little things like, does a dealer have enough pens in the dealership? Pens,
That's right.
writing instruments. Do you have enough pens in the dealership where people don't have to pass them back and forth? They don't want to touch you. They don't want to touch the pen you touched. I mean, do you have enough of that? Are your people wearing masks? We were at McDonald's drive-through the other day just looking. The employees at the window weren't wearing gloves and masks. What does that say for McDonald's? I mean, excuse me. I mean, there's a fear going around. Our employees at our dealerships have to look like, we are coronavirus. There's a whole new industry come up, sanitizing cars, sanitizing dealerships. I mean, I think I saw Clorox certified on one of the dealers the other day. I mean,
That's right. So you need to have pens, right? You need to have hand sanitizer available for everybody. I was contacted by Greater New York Dealer Association 2 weeks ago. They're desperately trying to get hand sanitizer.
Oh,
it's impossible to purchase it.
Oh, unless you make your own. I mean, and that's
right. So now, do you have enough? Those plexiglass dividers, right? Because you need to separate your service advisors.
And the plexiglass dividers. There's a lot of thoughts on that. Really, I mean, it's almost scares the consumer. What do we do? It's crazy. You heard my toilet paper story.
Yeah.
I've been ordering toilet paper. One of my dealer friends, Claudia Lothridge, she sent me some spare toilet paper, just to get us through. She had a couple rolls extra, so she sent us some. And Debbie and I are panicking, because there's countries in the Middle East that use pebbles.
That's right.
So I was starting to collect river rocks. Yeah. I'm like, oh my God. We're out there at the creek getting little rocks and we're ready. And then all of a sudden I had ordered 64 rolls of toilet paper from Amazon in an industrial package. I'd ordered 10 rolls from another vendor on Amazon. We ordered 20 rolls on Publix, and it all showed up at once. All of a sudden, we got 100 rolls of toilet paper.
Now you can start a business.
Oh, yeah. That's like gold.
Right, exactly.
So anyway, dealers have got to be prepared for what's coming. What would you recommend?
Well, it's really funny. I saw Brian Benstock speak prior to the coronavirus about how he does home delivery for his service customers, pickup and delivery.
Mm-hmm.
And he's been doing it for 2 years already.
I love Brian Benstock. Right? I mean,
he doesn't keep it a secret, right? He tells you how he does it. He even, at the presentation, he showed his financial statement. It shows, that your dollars per repair order double on home pickup and delivery, as opposed to having a customer waiting in your service department, right? So this is prior to coronavirus. And you would look at other dealers in New York area around Brian Benstock, and not a single one of them was doing the same thing, right? And because people are not willing to change, people are not willing to have this, intellectual flexibility that we talked about it before. You have to recognize that people, their buying habits and their shopping habits have changed. and Amazon and Uber, they retrained all of us. So instead of saying, well, it's Brian, that's why he does it, you can look in the mirror and say, hey, if he can do it, why can't I do it? I'm 5 miles away from Brian, right?
If Carvana can do it, why can't we do it? We got the cars, we got the service department, we've got immediate delivery. Some of their deliveries are 4 and 5 days lagging before they advertise cars they haven't even got. They're looking for the relationship with Manheim to fulfill their orders. We got the cars, we got the employees, we got the service department, we got immediate delivery. Why can't we out concierge the concierge vendors?
Well, because excuses, right? I can't get enough of good people, or it only works in Queens, right? Or it only works in New York, or it only works for Brian Benstock, or it only works for Carvana, or the best one is my customers are different, right? My customers are different, and they only want to come to the showroom, and they truly like to haggle, right? I mean, talk about fake news,
Oh. I have been in 49 states. I've been in more than 1,000 dealerships. I've caught ups in every state except Alaska. I've worked the desk. I've done F&I. I've done every variable operation management job in every dealership in 49 states in the last 45 years. And every time I go to do it, Ziegler, you can't do that here. Our people are different.
Right.
You can't do that here. Let me tell you how we like to do it. And I hear it all the time. Let me tell you how we like to do business. The management comes up to me, because I'm a management trainer. I institute new management, and the managers come up, Mr. Ziegler, look, let me tell you how we do it. Let me tell you how we like to do it. Okay, yeah. Well, do you think your dealer hired me at $10,000 a day because he thinks you're doing a good job?
To teach you.
You're going to bring in an award-winning chef and change the recipe.
Right. But I think, listen, at the end of the day, between Carvana and CarMax, right, that's almost 1 million cars sold a year at one price, right? So I think that if you're really serious about online car sales, you have to become a one-price dealer. Because if you're not a one-price dealer, you have nothing to put in a shopping cart. You cannot check out a negotiated item. Amazon would not work if we had to negotiate with Amazon on every purchase. Right?
I was talking to Tony D yesterday. Do you know Tony?
I do.
Yeah, Tony and I have been friends for over 20 years. And he's one of the F&I gurus, He's probably the second best F&I guy out there. I'm the king. I'm the last samurai, the last gladiator, the last gunfighter. Step out in the street and draw at high noon. I will show you some F&I. But I was talking to my friend, second best F&I manager in the world, Tony D. Who is tied with Shaka Dyson. But anyway, I was talking to my friend Tony D yesterday, and we were talking about Darwin. Now, are you familiar with Darwin?
I'm a huge fan.
Okay, well, tell me about Darwin. Tell me your thoughts on Darwin.
So 2 things I like about Darwin. First is that they actually allow you to customize their menu. And believe it or not, this was like breaking news to me. They have numbers to back up this statement that a 2-column menu works better than a 3 or 4-column menu.
Really?
And about $200 per car. Meaning, if you simplify the life of a customer and just give them a binary choice,
A or B,
that's it. There's no need for, silver, gold, platinum, or good, better, and best, So that's amazing. The second part that I like about Darwin is that they actually have the F&I follow-up post-sale. Meaning that let's be honest, Jim, and you as an F&I trainer, and number one F&I trainer, know this better than anybody.
In the universe, they might sell cars on other planets.
Right.
Yes.
So,
number one F&I trainer in the universe.
so I was a finance manager in my previous life. And let's say you come to my office and I do my best to sell you a vehicle service contract, but you say no, right? Do you think that I will ever follow back up with you? I just move on to the next customer, right?
Yeah.
It's not a process that dealers have when it comes to following up for, with unsold customers.
Let me tell you. Now, you say that. When I was with Dyer & Dyer Volvo in the 80s, and we were the first dealership in the world to do $1 million in 1 month in finance. Volvo dealership. Now, I don't take credit for that. I was one of 5 managers. There were 5 of us, and we were equally talented. I was not the department head. I was one of the F&I producers. But we did $1 million in 1 month, $1,073,000. And first dealership in the world to do that. Every month, we would get all the customers that did not buy a service contract and recontact them. F&I on the phone, recontacting customers that did not buy a service contract.
Well, would you agree that this is the exception, not the rule?
I mean, that's how intense we were.
Right. So
I mean, we were there.
I'm not that intense, now, and nobody does it, and you know it. So at least Darwin allows you to send this email follow-up to the unsold customer in the box and say, hey, Jim, this is maybe 2 weeks later. You already took delivery, this pride of ownership, you're at home or you're at work, you're relaxed. And they send you this email and says, hey, Jim, maybe you want to reconsider. If you do, here's a coupon and we'll give you, a 10% discount. And
you can do that in most states. You can't do that in Florida. You can't do that in I think it's maybe Washington. There's a couple of states that a service contract is an insurance item. But in other states, you can send them a discount coupon 30 days down the road.
Exactly. Yeah. And again, this is better than doing nothing. So
and that's Darwin.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Darwin. Good system. Very good system.
What Tony D was telling me that he is a fan of Darwin, as you and I are, but he has found a higher production dollar per unit with live video with an actual F&I manager presenting the product with a live video.
Yes, 100%. So again, this is something new, right? Because if we roll back the clock 90 days and you tell your finance manager to do a video conference presentation, they will laugh you out of the door, right?
Yeah.
They didn't even know how to spell Zoom 90 days ago.
Zoom, and like right now, you and I are on Be Live, which I like better than Zoom for my purposes.
Right.
Yeah, Be Live is working out quite well for me.
Right.
Was
that a plug?
What's that?
Did you just plug Be Live?
No, I don't. I have no. I'll tell you if I'm financially involved with a vendor. I am not financially involved with them. I'm financially involved with you, but not with them. You and I have a contract for certain items, but and I'll tell people that. That's one thing. I never take under the table money. There's a number of friends and vendors and sponsors of my events that I've made a lot of money with. And I tell people I'm paid by this person. I'm not paid by this person, so I always disclose that.
Jim, there's no shame in making money,
But there's a lot of people out there presenting themselves to be altruistic consultants that are just total bull crap. I mean, I know you're being paid big money to endorse this sponsor and you're representing yourself to be a research company.
Right. And that's just not being real, and people see through the BS, I like car business, but I also have to make a living, and you have to pay your bills.
So Darwin does online F&I. It's on the dealer's website. Where is it?
Well, listen.
Tell me. I don't know how Darwin works. Tell me how Darwin works.
It can be used as a menu, just a regular menu, like let's say Maxim Track.
Mm-hmm.
Or you can, also use it for F&I follow-up. So it depends how you use the system. Again, it comes down to the culture. And I'll tell you a very interesting interaction I had with Adam Aarons. I'm not sure if you know him.
No.
He's a dealer principal out of New England. He has, I think, a number one Subaru dealership in the state of Maine. And I met him at a conference, and he said, Subaru customers, they really are different, and,
Yeah.
it is true,
Yeah, they're one step up from below a Volvo,
Right.
I sold Volvos. Hey, sorry.
So he made an excellent point. He said that this meeting took place before coronavirus. And even back then, he said a Subaru customer would like to do the deal online. They don't want to come to the showroom. So his finance managers had to make an adjustment and pitch customers through video conferencing. And he said a very interesting thing. He said, if they let you in to their computer, they will definitely buy something from you. So when they agree to do the video conference, whether it's Zoom or BeLive, his product penetration is higher on a video conference pitch than on a face-to-face pitch in the box.
Okay, so let me ask you another question. What vendors have nearly perfected online sales, transactions? What vendors, and I have a thought in my head, but what vendors are out there that have actually A to Z can deliver a car without a human interaction or close to without a human interaction?
My personal understanding is that there are two big players.
Okay.
Roadster and
Roadster is the one I have in mind.
Right. So Roadster and AutoFi.
Auto-Fi. Now, are they doing complete transaction or just F&I?
They're doing a complete transaction.
Okay, so if dealers want to get into concierge sales where you deliver the car, the customer picks up the car, like just pick it up, you got to go one of two ways. You got AutoFi
or Roadster.
I'd like to get those people on a broadcast here. I really would.
I'm good friends with both of them. I will relay the message.
Yeah, I'd like to do a broadcast with Roadster because I've been endorsing the heck out of them, and I'm not paid by them in any way. And AutoFi, I don't even know those people, but I've heard good things about them. So if we're going to get into concierge sales, you need a vendor like that.
Yeah, and believe it or not, AutoFi is backed by Ford. So Ford owns a little piece of AutoFi. I think BMW Ventures owns a little piece of them as well. So you will see AutoFi presence in Ford and BMW franchises multiply over time.
Well, Mark LeNave at Ford is a good friend of mine, and I've known him for a long, long time. I mean, back when he was president of General Motors, now he's marketing director at Ford. So I'll check with Mark on that.
Yeah. So you see, in this environment, you're right. You need a complete tool to buy a car online. But that's just addressing the initial fear, right, of a customer not willing to go to a dealership. Now, whether they go to the dealership or whether they're looking to buy online, the real issue here is consumer confidence, right? Because when we have so many people unemployed and there is an unknown whether there will be a second wave or a third wave.
Now we're going to get into walkaway. And walkaway is what I called you about with this broadcast. Now, let me preface walkaway a second. A couple of years ago, probably 10, 15 years ago, a long time ago, in a galaxy far away. A long time ago, I came across walkaway before Hyundai Assurance picked it up. I was aware of walkaway when it was a Canadian company. And I said, my God, if people have an adverse situation in their life, they can give the car back. And I found fault with it at the time because it didn't have the elements. When I was an F&I manager, our main products were service contracts, tire and wheel, credit life, and credit disability insurance, which, believe it or not, it's taken a bad rap. Credit life and credit disability had great value to the customer that used it. I mean, if you didn't use it, you wasted your money. Okay. And the percentages, yeah, they made a profit. But hey, excuse me, the people that used it, it saved their lives economically. And I'm a big believer in credit life and credit disability insurance, especially for your credit challenged people that are already strung out, you know. So, you know, credit life and disability got a bad rap because a lot of people that didn't get the whole thing, oh, it's profitable. Yeah, excuse me. Yeah, it is. That's what we do. So anyway, then I saw Walkaway recently has added elements of credit life and elements of credit disability. And tell me all the things that, okay, you are an agent of Walkaway.
Correct.
You are one of the premier agents in the country. You can hook a dealer up with Walkaway product. What does Walkaway do, first of all?
I think the easiest way for dealers to understand Walkaway is just to look back at the Great Recession and remember Hyundai Assurance and the huge difference that campaign made for Hyundai. So I'll give you some numbers that, in my opinion, are absolutely fascinating. So Hyundai Assurance was in effect from 2008 to 2011 during the Great Recession. In that time period,
and they hooked up with Walkaway of Canada and bought the program.
That's right.
But I was aware of Walkaway of Canada probably 2004 or 5. I was talking about them long before that. Go ahead.
So in those 3 years, the car sales, industry declined by 21%. Meanwhile, Hyundai sales went up by 8%. And that's a 29% swing, right? That's a huge swing in time of economic devastation. Like you have October 15th of 2008 etched in your mind, right? I have September 15th of 2008 etched in my mind. That's the day when Lehman Brothers filed for bankruptcy.
Right.
And that was it. That was the final straw that broke the camel's back. So now Walkaway did amazing things, for Hyundai, in the sense that 59% of people considered buying a Hyundai because of the Hyundai Assurance or Walkaway element. And what I mean by that is that Hyundai was able to address the real fear. And the real fear was that, how do I pay for the car if I lose my job?
How do I pay for the car if I lose my job? If I lose my job due to layoffs, which we're experiencing right now, if I lose my job through no fault of my own, if I lose the job because of debilitating illness, there's that credit disability part of it. If debilitating illness causes me to lose my job, Walkaway covers it.
Exactly. And I think that's the real issue, because I look at it as a consumer, right? So I turn on my TV and I see Ford is advertising 0 APR for 84 months. And on the surface, it looks like an amazing deal.
84 months. Think about that.
Right. But 0 APR.
That's not a car sale. That's a wedding.
Right. Right. That's a camper, now, even though it is an amazing deal, it doesn't matter what the term is. If I lose my job, I can't make that 0 APR payment anyway. So am I going to be hesitant, and delay the purchase of that
People are holding back. They're not buying cars because of fear of the future. What if you can insure the future?
Exactly. And that's the main premise behind Walkaway. You want to address the real fear. And the real fear, is not whether I'm going to get a good deal or a bad deal. The real fear is, how am I going to pay for the car?
A 60-month loan at 3% interest is upside down inverted equity for 3.8 years. 84 months, 0% or not, how long are these people going to owe more on the car than its true value?
A lot of them are going to be less time buyers, Jim.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, when I say we're performing weddings, we are performing weddings. It's not, you know.
That's right.
I was reading the other day where Japan's got 100-year mortgages on houses now.
Oh, wow.
And so the mortgage stays in your family. Your kids and their kids pay off the mortgage and live in the house. You know, it's generational. Right. You think about it, they got no more real estate, so they just.
That's right. So I think any car dealer, you know, has to face the reality that, number one, a lot of people are not certain about the future. And number two, because of that uncertainty, they're going to delay a purchase. That's just normal human nature.
What if we could remove that fear?
Exactly.
You ever see Home Alone on TV?
Yeah. Right. Right. So instead of looking for the next shiny object, right?
Yeah.
Instead of doing pinstripes or balloons or inflatable gorillas, you know.
Hey, don't mess with
I know we're going to take it first.
We're getting a little sacrilegious here now. Inflatable gorilla, you're going too far. Balloons sell cars. Okay.
Right. So do something that really addresses the issue that everybody has on their mind. I don't care if you're a doctor, if you're a restaurant owner, you know, if you're a high school teacher, right? The uncertainty is the same. If there is a second wave and I have to be either laid off or furloughed, how am I going to deal with this car payment? And what consequences am I going to have when it comes to my credit?
Okay, number one, walk away covers if you lose your job through no fault of your own, period.
Correct.
You can give the car back, regardless of being upside down.
That's right.
I mean, you can hand them the keys and say, been a good experience. I can't pay for the car. Goodbye.
So I mean, listen, you file a claim, and again, it's not just involuntary unemployment. I think involuntary unemployment is what's on everybody's mind. But like you said, there's also physical disability. There's loss of driver's license.
Okay, say the state. I'm 73 years old and I drive, and right now I'm pretty sound of mind.
Right.
Okay. Yes. I got a pretty sound mind. but say I catch dementia, you know, and the state says, or my eyesight goes bad. And the state says you can no longer drive. We're taking your driver's license, but you bought a car. And maybe you're not as old as I am. Maybe you're a 40-year-old guy that lost his sight, you know?
Right.
And you got a car loan. The lender doesn't care that you lost your sight or you became disabled. But if you are disabled where you cannot drive and the state takes your license, you lose your license. Now I got a question I don't even know the answer to. What if you get too many traffic violations and they take your license?
No.
No,
that's a quick no.
That's a quick no. Okay.
but I think that the main idea here is not just to address that fear, right? Mm-hmm. But to build a marketing campaign around it.
Oh yeah, if you can advertise, hey, we will ensure that if you lose your license, you can't pay for the car through no fault of your own. We have certain restrictions on that. We'll ensure that, and it's a profit opportunity for the F&I office to upsell.
Exactly.
Say you pre-mount the basic program on every car in stock.
Right. So in order for you to have an effective marketing campaign, you have to preload this benefit on every car that you sell, new and used. And how
long is that? How long is that preload benefit?
So the benefit is for 12 months, and it covers up to $7,500 in negative equity.
Okay. So you can cover $7,500 negative equity for the first year.
Correct.
But what if the F&I manager sells the second year?
So exactly. So what happens is that a lot of dealers are philosophically against preloading, right? Because it increases the cost.
Don't even go there. Just let's talk about the profit.
So now the profit is that your finance managers have an opportunity to upsell this product. from the 1 year preload that you're advertising, you can take it all the way up to 7 years, 84 months.
So you can guarantee walk away for 84 full months, and that is an upsell that gives the F&I another profit center.
That's right. And not only that, you can also increase the actual amount of negative equity from 7,500 all the way to $15,000.
Oh, so wait a minute. You can up. Okay, so
you can extend and dollar amount.
Here you got Fred and Martha. They're upside down $6,000, but you managed to get the lender to cover that in the new loan. So their trade-in is upside down $8,000, but you got it covered in the new loan that is also $7,500 upside down. Now they're $15,000 upside down, but you can cover that.
That's right.
Walk away with an upsell. So F&I has a profit opportunity because let's face it, service contracts are becoming and Gap, tire and wheel is minimal profit. The most valuable product we sell in F&I, and I talk about this all the time, is Gap. And a lot of states don't have Gap. I think New York doesn't have Gap, do they?
We cannot sell it for profit.
Criminal politicians, New York. I'm sorry. They ought to lock them all up forever. But anyway, New York politicians, criminals. Some. I'm sure there's an honest one or two in the bunch. So I want to disclaim that. But anyway, I haven't met them. But anyway, most states, Gap is the best product we sell in F&I. Service contract has the second most value. When Gap pays off, a higher amount traditionally than you'll ever collect on a service contract. Average Gap claim, and you mentioned the number, is $7,500. That's the average around the country, and that's considering most vehicles today. The average car is $24,000. When you talk about the average car, that's according to Bankrate.com and some of the other statisticians out there. The average where people are buying cars for today, the average contract is $24,000. That's not talking about your $100,000 Lamborghinis and such, but the average car. So when you talk about the average car is going to be $7,500 upside down when you drive it off. So when you got walkaway that covers $7,500, which is the average car, you pretty well done these people a great service.
Exactly. And not only that, you see, you need to stand out from competition as a car dealer. That's what Hyundai was able to accomplish during the Great Recession. They stood out from competition, and they sold Hyundais to people that never even considered a Hyundai before they came out with Hyundai Assurance. So we have numbers to back this up, right? It's tried and tested. And now as a car dealer, right, you are competing with other car dealers. And maybe I was never in the market for a Ford. Maybe I always wanted a Ram or a Chevy. But my Ford dealer offers walkaway, and that's going to sway my...
That will sway a consumer your way.
Absolutely.
So now we've talked about a lot of things in this broad. We've been on nearly an hour.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
And Jim, let's be honest, not only that it will sway the customer to buy a car from this particular dealer, it'll help the finance manager sell finance products.
Okay.
Because again, if my fear is that I don't know how I'm going to pay for the car, most likely I will have to say no to vehicle service contract because it's only going to make it harder for me to make that payment. But if you give me an option to walk away, if there's this unfortunate circumstance, then I would be much more receptive and say yes to Gap and say yes to Tire and Wheel and say yes to a vehicle service contract.
Okay, well, let me ask you a serious question here. How can I get in touch with you?
So I'm like you, Jim. I'm old school, I guess. My cell phone is 917.
Hang on. Yeah.
917-903-0312. and I actually answer it.
No.
This is my real number. It's not like an office number or answering service. This is my real number that I answer all the time.
Is that it on the screen?
Yes, exactly.
917-903-0312. So they can call you and they can you'll give them a demo and walk away and what it covers. And
right. With the demo, again, Jim, I think we all intuitively understand how it works from the consumer's perspective. Right. And it's very simple. It's extremely effective. And I think, if you speak to Hyundai dealers, they will tell you, what it did for them years ago.
Oh, I know for a fact it bailed Hyundai out when other manufacturers were declaring bankruptcy. Hyundai was selling cars and thriving because of the walk-away program.
So here's an interesting tidbit of information. So within 6 months of the Hyundai Assurance launch in 2008, Hyundai became the 4th largest automaker in the world.
Oh, yeah. I remember in the 90s when Hyundai first came into the country. The salesman would deliver the car and run away hoping it would make it to the street.
That's right. Right.
They were terrible cars.
But look at them now.
Yeah. Hyundai and Kia both. I mean, the quality is terrible. It's wonderful. It was terrible. So anyway, so if they want to know more about the walk away sales retention,
but again, the beauty of the program is that it's administered by, a company that's been in business 42 years. It's underwritten by M-Trust. It's price controlled, meaning that it's $105.
You'll explain that to people.
Right, exactly. So at the end of the day, I think, and again, I'm looking at it as a consumer, that would be a deal breaker for me. If I'm in between 2 cars and one dealership has walk away and the other one doesn't, I'm going to go with the one that does.
It's a deal breaker. Absolutely. So anyway, we talked about walk away. We talked about Darwin. We talked about Roadster. What other programs out there do dealers need to consider right now?
I think another fear, again, whether real or not, perception is reality, is you have to sanitize cars.
Yeah.
You need to sanitize cars that you are selling, and you also need to sanitize cars that you are servicing. And what I see is that there's a lot of chemicals on the market, but I would be really, really careful if I was a dealer. I would do some research, because you need to go with something that's EPA registered. You need to go with something that you do not have to mix on your own, right? Because that can injure your people. So you need to do your research, get the right product, and also don't keep it a secret. Build it into a marketing campaign and say, hey, Max, when you come to our showroom, every single car is sanitized. Every single car is sanitized after each test drive. Every single car is sanitized when you drop it off for service. And we need to address those fears.
Yes, I see dealerships that have cleaning crews wearing hazmat outfits at night, spraying the dealership. I mean, but it's gotten to be and consumers expect that. From a restaurant or even though the markets in some states are now wide open, and dealers need to adjust your marketing to get that message out there. If you have a protected sale, you got to put that in your marketing and get your entire marketing into safe sales, guaranteed, and walk away. That is the most guaranteed peace of mind I could imagine. Tell me again, walk away covers if they lose the job through no fault of their own.
It also covers you in case of a physical disability, loss of a driver's license due to physical disability, international employment transfer.
Okay. No, wait a minute. International employment transfer. So if your company transfers you overseas, you can give the car back.
Exactly. I mean, it would be really unfair. I don't know how you would do it otherwise, right? You would have to make the car payment on the car that you can't even use. If they transfer you to England and your car is in Georgia, it does you no good,
Yeah.
So employment transfer is a qualifying event. Also, a self-employed personal bankruptcy, as well as
hang on, wait. Self-employed personal bankruptcy is so if you are self-employed and are forced to declare personal bankruptcy, the car does not go against the bankruptcy.
Exactly.
Give it back.
An event, right? This is all included in that preload. We're not upselling additional, qualifying events. The only thing they will be able to upsell on F&I is the term extension or the benefit extension.
So F&I has a definite profit opportunity. I'm an F&I manager, the best in the world. I'm an F&I manager. I would welcome the ability to upsell this product.
Exactly.
I could see, and I could see a customer putting a good dollar value on it. Now, let me ask you a question. Now, is walkaway an insurance?
It is not.
Okay, so it's negotiable.
So it is. So the way
the pre-mount is not negotiable. I know that. Whatever it is, it is. Whatever it is, it is.
But the upsells are also price controlled, and this is done for a reason. So there's a definitive dealer cost, and there's a defined MSRP for each level of upsell, and it is done. So let's be honest, there are some finance managers out there that will take advantage of the program and sell it for a gazillion dollars. And if you do that, you basically wipe out the benefit. So the company wanted to do it correctly. And they said, listen, we're going to define the MSRP and everybody pays the same.
I see.
So whether you go to, dealer A or dealer B, the price is the price.
We have talked about Darwin. We've talked about Roadster. We've talked about sanitizing cars. We've talked about concierge sales, a lot about walkaway. Max, is there anything we've left out of this conversation before we end this broadcast? We've been an hour and 10 minutes already.
So I'll be honest with you, Jim. I think, like we said in the beginning, this is an incredible opportunity for car dealers to really re-engineer their business in general. And it would be a shame to let this crisis go to waste. And if dealers don't take proactive action and make the necessary adjustments, like you said, there will be casualties. Not everybody's going to survive.
No, not everybody's going to survive. Natural selection. So anyway, and I'm thinking right now, is it a requirement that they offer walkaway on all their vehicles? Is that a requirement, or is that a strong suggestion?
It is a requirement.
Okay, very good. Okay, well, listen, big guy, I'm gonna end this broadcast. Max Zanan, so you're living in New York, right?
Yes, sir.
No, you're not. I know you got a residence in Manhattan, but is that where you're at right now?
No. So, I actually have a house in Pennsylvania, and that's why I am, because, it's just safer to be in Pennsylvania.
New York is trying to keep all the residents from fleeing, but it's like people from New York are refugees. They're moving to other states.
That's right.
Florida, and New York's trying to tax them. If you move to Florida, we will audit your taxes if you move to Florida. I mean, they're threatening people. What is that all about?
Yeah, it's 100% certainty. It's not, it's not even like you roll the dice. This is 100% certainty that
who voted for these people? New Yorkers. You got what you deserve. De Blasio. Como. His brother on CNN.
Right.
Quit it.
Yeah. AOC.
Ocasio-Cortez. What are you people thinking about? I hate Trump. Okay, you got what you deserve. Okay. Listen, big guy, I love you. You're a good friend. I've known you, we got about, 15 years, 10 years? I don't know.
10 years, Jim, 10 years.
Yeah. We started about the time everything crashed, didn't we?
Yeah. And we did this amazing training for Atlantic Auto Group, remember?
Oh, my God, yeah. Atlantic Auto Group, yeah. Staluppi's organization.
That's right.
Well, listen, big guy, I'm going to sign this off. Your phone number's on the screen. I'll be doing more broadcasts. Let me know what happens.
You got it, sir.
Okay, let me cut this off.